Do you know where the origin of emotions like anger, anxiety, depression, resentment, jealousy, all of those negative emotions come from one same place? And have you ever wondered where they come from? Well, let's talk about it. They all come from one place, and that's fear. Do you want to learn how to overcome fear? And what is fear? Stay tuned. So fear is something we all experience, and in different ways, some more intensive than others. So fear is an emotional legacy that helped us in the past. It's a legacy of evolution that helped us survive as human beings. So the first part of the brain that developed was the emotional system. It wasn't the rational. The rational came from the emotional system. And the emotional system is the one that warns us if we're in danger or let us know. It's set up in a way that is meant to protect us from being hurt, to survive basically. It alerts us if we're in danger. So when we experience anger, what happens physically is that we feel prompted to take action, and our blood circulates strong in our hands. When we experience fear, our blood goes to all our skeletal muscles, so it's easier for us to flee. And even our face, the blood gets drawn from our face, and that's why we have a blank face. So when we feel fear, the amygdala center of the brain, it's triggered, and that's where we get that fight or flight response, and that's a primary response, and it's almost automatic. But we are powerful on the secondary emotions, because after we were triggered, we can decide how we're going to proceed. If we first take some time to regroup, and that will allow us to invite the rational mind to really assess how we're going to proceed. So these fear responses are triggered in the amygdala, and the amygdala has some emotional imprints. So if we had experiences in the past that were very strong, it creates an imprint. And the cognitive unconscious is basically screening what's happening right now, if it matches those previous experiences, and that's where it gets triggered. And sometimes this is an answer that nobody could answer to me. Have you ever felt like your moods shift out of nowhere and you have no words to explain why or how or what is it that you're feeling? So the amygdala creates some emotional imprints. So if there were events, for example, when you were very young and you still didn't have the language to label what was happening, but your emotions were aroused very strongly, it could be trauma, or it could be just something very impactful that happened when you were very young. So you just have the feeling, recollection, but you don't have the exact words to name it, and that's where that memory imprint comes from. So all of our emotions originate, or our negative emotions originate from fear. Because if we're feeling angry, it's probably because we're afraid someone is stepping on us, or that we need to protect ourselves, or things like that. If we are sad, we are afraid that something's not going to work out, or that something is hurting us or is going to hurt us. If we're anxious, then it's because we're not in the present. We are worrying about the future, or we are in the past. So it's just fear that what's gonna happen in the future, or if a past experience, the fear that it might happen again. And depression is complex, but just a quick example will be, it could be that you're depressed because you have some events in the past haven't been resolved, and they're still bothering you, or you're unconsciously feeling them. And last example, but we could keep going and on, but jealousy, for example, it comes from the fear that maybe why can't I have those things? The fear that I will never have those things, or you're comparing yourself and then you fear that you're missing out, or that something, you're not doing the right things, or things like that. But fear, even though it could affect us negatively if we let it, the origin of fear is to protect us. Fear is here, even though it could hurt us if we are not aware, but you don't always have to listen to fear. Fear could be wrong, and it could just be trying to protect you, but don't let it consume you in a way where you end up paralyzed, where you can't do things that probably could be well for you. It could be great if you dare to go for an interview for a certain job. If you have things that you want to do, but because of fear you don't dare, don't listen to that fear. And ways to overcome fear: first, don't let it limit you where you don't dare to do things that could be good for you. Don't let it stop you from giving yourself a chance, an opportunity to find out the possibility. I love this affirmation, is dwell in possibilities. And the reality is that if you believe every fear, and we all hear it, we all hear these thoughts that originate from fear, but the trick here is that you really fact check it and don't let it consume you, because if you're dominated by fear, then it impacts your decisions in your life. And when you impacts your decisions, it impacts your reality. And that's why we can't let it always consume us. And also, make sure you check out my DVT 90-minute training on DVT 101 workshop. That's free. And this is a cognitive therapy that if you have fears, for example, you will be able to have skills to put in place after the primary emotion. After, if you were triggered and you're feeling fear, then you can go to these skills to help you calm those fears and come back to your body connection. And another video that I recommend is one I did on EFT, because if you are being plagued by fear and it's causing you anxiety, for example, if you practice EFT, it allows you to not just be in your mind, but it lets you connect you back to the present in your body. You need to be on your body to be able to be in the present, and the tapping points. And also it allows you to voice your fear out loud, and you're exposing it. So when you expose it, it might not make sense anymore. Sometimes if you are talking to a friend, or if you write it in a piece of paper, then exposing your fears, it makes it less strong. They lose their intensity, they lose their reality, they sound extreme, and this can help you overcome your fears. And I have a signature program where for 8 weeks we explore all the alternative therapies that are based in brain plasticity. That's why they're so effective, and I recommend them and teach them. And so journal. If you're being tormented by a fear, journal what it is, and then come back to it later, and then you read it, and you'll see that it was probably not a valid fear, and you can fact check it, and you will be able to follow up and realize what's causing it, what's the origin. I also have a video that you should check out on meditation and why meditation works and meditation benefits. When you meditate, it also lets you be less tormented by these fears, because then you realize that you are not your thoughts and you're not meant to believe all these thoughts. It also allows you to not just be consumed by every thought that comes, automatic thoughts that come in. So I highly recommend meditating. And when you're meditating, you can also embed new thoughts in your subconscious. You can meditate to I'm safe, and that could be your mantra, or I'm not in danger, I'm safe, safe in the present moment, and I love and accept myself. And you can meditate to mantras like that. And to end this video, I would like to share a very, very wise story. Let me read it to you. A Native American grandfather was speaking to his grandson about violence and cruelty in the world and how it comes about. He said it was as if two wolves were fighting in his heart. One wolf was vengeful, resentful, and angry, and the other wolf was understanding and kind. The young man asked his father, which wolf will win? Which wolf will win the fight in his heart? And his grandfather answered, the one that will win will be the one that I choose to feed. So which wolf are you going to feed today? Remember, it's never too late to change the story of our lives. Oh, I'm so tired today.